The results of studies surrounding cladribine, oral cladribine, or Mavenclad presented at AAN 20 were interesting, compelling, and encouraging. I see oral cladribine as representing a broad spectrum agent that is conceivably high efficacy, well suited for a broad range of patients, both relapsing, remitting, as well as secondarily progressive. I see oral cladribine being used effectively for patients with mild, moderate, as well as more active disease. It's an oral therapy, short course, easy to administer, with relatively low monitoring requirements. So certainly in this COVID era, I think it does play a significant role. The adverse event profile or tolerability of oral cladribine, in my experience, as well as the data in the pivotal trials, is favorable. I believe that the most common adverse effects, that is, adverse effects occurring at an incidence of more than 20%, are transient and fairly mild. They include headache, upper respiratory tract symptomatology, and of course, transient lymphocyte depletion, which is an expected outcome given the mechanism of this drug. Initiating and maintaining a patient on Mavenclad has been fairly easy for me during this COVID pandemic. There are some basic prerequisite blood tests that can be done one time and are fairly easy to do. The 10 days of initial year therapy are coordinated with MS lifelines. I believe the drug is mailed directly to the patient at their home. Nursing will then provide support virtually or by telephone. And really beyond that, the patient is only required to have CBC with differential performed at regular intervals, 2 months, 6 months following administration. This has been a very easy drug for me to use before COVID and certainly during COVID. There was data presented at AAN 2020 centering around or involving ocrelizumab and long-term efficacy. And I believe that the data confirmed that long-term ocrelizumab has significant prolonged effects in terms of slowing down disability progression, in addition to reducing relapses and suppressing MRI activity. This data regarding long-term use of ocrelizumab presented at AAN 2020 is certainly encouraging. It helps those of us who've had patients on this drug since its launch here 2 or 3 years ago. It gives us confidence in continuing this drug long term. There are still some questions that I have surrounding B-cell depletion and risk of certain infections. I believe that's being worked on in terms of ongoing studies. Nonetheless, this data is encouraging in that I don't necessarily see my prescribing habits changing. I am able to provide patients with reassurance, that is, those patients who have been on ocrelizumab for several years, that they should have continued positive results moving forward. Ocrelizumab in general, in my experience, as well as in the studies, is very well tolerated. Aside from infusion reactions, which can occur with any infusion, patients generally don't report adverse effects.